you believe it, guys? We're on episode 10. In this fun episode, because all our episodes are fun for me, we talk about, well, what's going on, how we're dealing with all the stress, and of course, we talk about Halloween. Enjoy! I think it's your turn.
Oh, okay. Hey, everybody. I'm JV.
And I'm Isa.
And we are technically together.
Wait, we are turning my AC off. That's what we're doing. I apologize.
You were
But
so ready.
I caught it. Okay, shall we start again? No, this is real life, you guys. This is sometimes you get stuff perfect like in the last podcast and then one step back, you forget to turn off the AC, and that is where we're at. Good morning for me. I just woke up, so
good evening.
That is where
good evening from what we call Titletown right now, because
Titletown.
Yes, because both the Lakers and the Dodgers won their respective titles. So, LA.
Oh, hey!
LA is killing it right now.
Does that mean the Dodgers go to the World Series?
No, they just won the World Series.
Hey, weren't you supposed to watch?
I did watch. Like, sort of.
In real life? Didn't you say something about them going to the World Series and you wanting to watch?
Yes. So it was when my grandfather passed and he was a lifelong Dodgers fan. Well, rather, not lifelong. By lifelong, I mean him being in the U.S. So he moved to the U.S. to LA, and then he became a Dodger fan until his death.
I was going to point that out because Filipinos don't normally watch baseball.
Yes.
We are a basketball country through and through. So that was a pretty interesting thing to learn about.
And when he passed, I said during during the wake, you go up to the body and you give your final respects. And I said, I'll root for the Dodgers for you. And I have since then. They did not win once ever since then. This world title win of theirs, or rather World Series win of theirs, is the first championship in 32 years.
It froze from my end. But
okay.
Yeah, it's I started to get what you said. Didn't win 32 years. Wait, 32 years?
Yeah, they have not won in 32 years.
Did they last win in 1988?
Yes.
Yes?
Mhm.
Huh. Interesting.
And like for the last
that confirms my math. I guess I'm 32. I've forgotten because I always say I'm 25. This is the one pot. I can't even say anything. I woke up too early. I admitted that on a podcast. So, this will be the Easter egg because I never admitted. I tell everyone I'm 25.
This is the 7th sequel to your 25th birthday. But yeah,
I'm not even kidding. That's what I tell people.
So yeah, it was a good time. It was good to see them win. Not the best thing that the player who was taken out of the game for testing positive for COVID-19 came out to celebrate with everybody. Very irresponsible. Yeah, so that kind of tarnished the night a little bit. But yeah, no.
Why would you do that?
Well,
why would you do that?
What's funny, I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on it. Like, I don't care either way. I had my own things to worry about over the last few days. But yeah, like all the news stories are just like, oh, it was irresponsible of him. Like it was really bad. And then a lot of other people pointed out that he was in that game he was in there for half the game. So he was around everybody already. So him coming out for 5 minutes to celebrate with the trophy is a little bit like you're kind of taking it out of context. Like he was already endangering everyone earlier, so don't just focus on the last 5 minutes.
It okay though.
No, that doesn't make anything okay. All they're saying is like you're mad at the 5 minutes. Be mad at the fact that he was there at all. Like
definitely. Because obviously, what are the precautions in place? How was he let in without? I mean, aren't they supposed? Because I went out for one shoot and I had to be tested before. We had to be tested before we entered the premises, and a few days later we were tested again, and that was the bare minimum even. And even when my sister does her COVID rounds, because she's a doctor, they get tested I think after too. like before, because supposedly they don't have it because they've been getting tested. But I mean, like for something as big as that, you'd think there'd be better mechanisms in place to save people.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
Well,
know.
I
I'm.
well you mentioned the fact that you did an event not too long ago, and I think what you went through after that, like just being burned out and tired,
I'm
and
so tired.
I think I am going through that right now,
Oh
because
man.
not only did I have the chance to see Jaime last week, and we worked on the
Oh,
iPhones together.
I miss you guys. I mean, I miss you, but I miss like being with other people around you too, and seeing all our other friends. I just see them on a tiny screen, a bigger screen now because of my new monitor, which
But
is a
yeah,
video you guys should watch.
well, I hung out with him, like we hung out working together in my office, and then that was Friday, and then Sunday I decided, okay, I have a new 360 camera. Actually, I can show it because it's right here in front of me.
Yeah, I want to see. My news writer just wrote about this camera on the website. I have to edit it after this. Can you send me photos? Giving him more work. Never
I
mind,
can,
it's okay.
yeah.
I'll get from your video. I'll embed your video. Don't worry.
Thank you. But yeah, I decided because I can't do the thing I did last year with the first version of this. I'll
Oh, Japan.
I'll try to do something. So I took a road trip down to San Diego, got some socially distant tacos, and so I
Socially
ordered.
distancing in your mouth.
Well, this was the thing. So it was a good time, don't get me wrong. But going to the Japanese Friendship Garden with our friends Andrew and Stacy, like on the way there, Balboa Park, it's far emptier than it ever has been. Sure, but there were still quite a few people walking around, some of whom were not wearing any masks. And I get it, you think you're outside, if you're trying to keep your distance, fine. But still, just it's a courtesy thing at this point. But
I mean, it's
then,
not even just a courtesy thing. It's an actual real pandemic is happening. It's the least you can
yes.
do.
After we were done at the Friendship Gardens, we went back to my car, grabbed the tacos, and we tried to find a place to sit to eat. We ended up sitting in the bench area that's in front of the gardens, and the tables were not quite as far apart as we probably would have wanted. But we ate, and then we talked for a while, put our masks back on, and left. Looking back on it, I keep thinking to myself, like, yeah, I mean, I let myself do that one time, but I think still have to be stricter in the future about those kinds of things, because I think that subconsciously there was so much stress and anxiety involved with being around those conditions that on Monday and Tuesday after getting back, I was not functional. Like I have no symptoms. Don't worry, I've been checking. My temperature's actually all day today up until now. My temperature has been like 90 degrees, and that's actually low for me. I'm usually like
But
94.
I think so. What's happening is you're now a little paranoid because you allowed yourself to be out, and I mean it's normal. And but this is also the reason why I don't go out at all, because aside from the fact that it doesn't matter if it were like 3 seconds or a whole day you were out, it doesn't matter where you went, right? It doesn't discriminate. Aside from the fact that it doesn't matter, and you will get it if you get it, even if you were out for like 5 seconds just to grab something. I just don't need the unnecessary stress. Because when I
Yeah.
did go out, I was so paranoid. And I was telling you, I was feeling sick. I drank so much vitamin C. I even with the swab test checking and then coming back home, I was socially distancing from my family. Like I was not mixing my plates and my spoons and my forks with them. I was sitting far apart. I wasn't like so it's also this very psychological thing.
Yeah.
It's
And
not
it's
just the actual if you get it. It's psychologically thinking, what if I did get it?
There's a little bit of that. And I also think there's a lot of residual anxiety, stress, cortisol, whatever the case may be. I think I need to like cool it on the caffeine a little bit, because I wanted to tweet out something funny like, damn it, caffeine, you're supposed to help me do the things I don't want to do. And now you're giving me panic attacks, so I still don't do the thing I want to do.
And
Like, it sucks.
I mean,
But then, of course, the other huge thing right now is, of course, Tuesday is our elections. So
Yeah.
we have a lot of stress around that right now. And just kind of seeing it's so easy to even go to the places where you want to distract yourself, like YouTube, TikTok, and all that stuff. Just see people like the top story on my Apple News app, which I thought was the reason why I say that is because I would not expect the Apple News app to make this the top story, was of a woman in Ontario, Canada, who tried to beat up an employee, an Asian employee at CVS for telling her to put on a mask. And this black woman was basically like the whole time she was trying to hit her was like, you must know martial arts. Well, so do I. And just started like flailing at her. And like what is going on? And then this is Ontario we're talking about. It's not even the US. It has nothing to do with the elections. It's just so funny to me how crazy the world has been that this was the top story on Apple News.
It's I mean, another layer to that is that it's Techtober. So aside from all the craziness that's happening in the tech space, and I've seen this with all my tech friends, like anyone who's ever been involved in the tech space, everyone's been crazy busy. Everyone's been like just tired.
Yeah.
I have like 3, 4 phones behind me I have to shoot, and I have even more stuff coming, and I you know, the one thing that I keep on coming back to is when Jaime gave us that talk about stress. I don't know, maybe he was giving you the talk about stress and I was listening. I'd imagine this happened in a road trip where I was in the back seat, half listening and half
There
passing
was
out. I can't remember.
That was one of them. It was back from CES. We were all in the car. And yeah, we were talking about how like, we get overwhelmed by stuff. And he was like, dude, it's YouTube. Like
Yeah,
that's what he kept
exactly.
saying.
That's what I keep on coming back to. Like even when I was speaking with my manager, we were talking about some high stress stuff, high stress work stuff. And so it was coming from a week of so much stress. And if you know me, you'd know that I go off in that, like sometimes when we have conversations, I just respond in paragraphs because that's how I think. How I talk is how I think, how I type. So, and Joshua, and I mean,
Well,
you've seen this in our conversations, right?
let us know in the comments. Are you the kind of person that gets stressed out or annoyed when you get one message from your significant other and then it's
Well, that's basically me.
Yes,
Yeah, and I have
because
the whole
that's what it was.
conversation. Yeah, I have the whole conversation by
Because
myself.
you don't because it's one of those things where you're not texting in full sentences. It's half a thought followed by the rest of the thought followed by a whole new
Yeah,
thought.
yes. But in this case, it was actually like full paragraphs and then another full paragraph. And I was having this conversation, quote unquote, with my manager. And usually, and Joshua knows this because this happens to him too, I end with, oh, never mind. I guess my conclusion is this. So that's what happened. Like, so it was a very high stress situation, but then towards the end of the week she comes to me with some info that might potentially be stressful for me, and then I just go like, you know what, it's fine, it's just YouTube. So it's like I keep on thinking back to that. I was telling Joshua that and I hope this helps other friends too who are in a similar boat, but I was telling Joshua that we actually quit our job so that we'd have ourselves as our boss, so that we are in charge of our time and we can do what we want. And now we're stressing ourselves out because of what's happening, and why can't we be kinder bosses to ourselves?
It's true. We have to
Right?
be kind. We have to be kind to ourselves, and even in a more macro sense, we have to be as kind to ourselves as we would to each other.
Yeah, because I mean, it's just YouTube, and I can imagine, like, I always hear that in Jaime's like chill suave voice, but I'm like, yeah, it's just
It's cool, buddy.
YouTube.
It's cool, buddy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you might have also been thinking of another instance when Jaime was sort of giving me not really a pep talk, but you. It was I think one of the first times that you and Jaime spent that much time together was when we all three of us were in Japan, and
No, the
we
first
went
time
out.
I spent a lot of time with Jaime was when we were at the party and you weren't, and Jaime and I got introduced, and we had a very long talk. This was in Barcelona at a party where you weren't at. So I actually met Jaime without you. and we had a long ass talk, and it was nice. It was getting to meet him like in that context. It
Yeah.
was literally a whole conversation where he was like, "Oh, you're the girl Joshua's seeing," and I'm like, "Oh, you're the guy Joshua like knows and like
Who's saving his
considers as a
career?
very good, yeah, as a good friend." Not even then. That wasn't even happening
Oh,
yet.
I was at AA still? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was like it was that, and then we ended up talking, and we talked a long time, like most of that party, and then we left for another party. But yeah.
Well, the Japan anecdote I was going to give was we were waiting to go into a proper sushi restaurant. After you and I had already gone with my family to a conveyor belt, to
Yeah.
a I don't know, we never did omakase, but the most sushi we
Yeah.
had was either store bought or the conveyor belt one. And I was over here like, those were good, don't get me wrong. Like, the conveyor belt sushi is actually better than most sushi places here where it's a sit down. But I wanted to go to a proper sushi restaurant with all kinds of fatty tuna and all these. Their specialty was fatty tuna. And we're sitting outside waiting for a table. And you two are talking, and I'm just chilling on the side. And he starts talking to you about me, about like, oh yeah, this guy over
Being so
here.
stressed.
Then it eventually got to the point where Jaime has to go. But I will say, I've never met anybody who takes so many things so seriously.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah. I would
Yeah.
like to think I'm a little bit better nowadays at that whole thing, but
You are
yeah.
better. I am worse, I think. I am worse, so I'm trying to like remind myself all the time that it's just YouTube. I mean, for someone like me who wants so many things to happen, I want to do so, like I lose, I think this is not the first time I've said it. I lose sleep over trying to figure out how to do the things I want to do. And I'm just like, dude, just enjoy it. Enjoy the fuck out of what you've built. Like, I know it's still small compared to so many others, but it's like, what's the point if I don't enjoy it anymore?
Well,
You
you know
know?
what?
What's the point if I don't get to talk about, like, the actual tech that I excites me or enjoys that or I enjoy, right? Like, why am I so hell bent into creating something so rigid when it's YouTube?
Yeah. And
I think the coffee's kicking in, by the way.
it seems like it, yeah. Meanwhile, I have herbal tea because I'm actually going to, with the amount of fatigue that I am feeling, or burnout, or whatever the case may be, I'm going to probably go right to bed after this. But anyway, on the final part before we get into our main topic, I feel like, when Jaime and I were together last Friday, he was asking like, how is Isa? And I was telling him like, oh, she's doing so much. And it eventually got to the point where I said, she's doing so much out of that room. Like people watching on YouTube, that room right there has been like, that is where an entire career is being built right now. And it's so impressive how much you've been able to do from that one spot given quarantine. But even then, even if there was no quarantine, you just did everything out of there, it is still impressive. So I was telling Jaime, I can't wait for when all of this is over, and the amount of work that you've put into figuring out your process, into building your habits, into creating the work ethic that you have right now. It's only going to benefit you once we put you in a place where everything is catered to that purpose. Like, I can only imagine you killing it if you were working in my office, because there's a lot there for you to work with,
There's a rig that's already set up for overhead. Ha
Yeah,
ha!
exactly. Like with what you've been able to achieve with, like, I'm not saying you don't have a lot. All I'm saying is that given the circumstances, we all are working with less.
Yeah.
But what you've been able to achieve given your particular relative circumstances is amazing. And I hope you never forget that. I will always remind you of
Thanks,
that.
babe. Thanks, babe. I mean, I will point out though that I am, and don't get me wrong, it's always a matter of perspective, right? It's layers, but both can be true. I will point out that I am still very privileged to be able to, despite of this pandemic, work on what I work on, have all the facilities I have to work with. I am very privileged in that sense. But like I say, it's always layers. Like, I'm privileged in that sense, but I'm not privileged enough to be able to have a studio, to be able to have a team, to be able to have access to all the things that I'd want to. But that being said, both can be true. I can be privileged and at the same time not be as privileged. And that doesn't invalidate how I feel. I think that's one thing that needs to be said in this whole conversation of wokeness and unwokeness and hyper wokeness, and it's another topic altogether, but things that I'm realizing on social media. I always try to be aware and what people describe as a negative woke, but I mean, even then, the struggles are real. My struggle as a creator, being in this privileged space, should not be invalidated by the fact that there's a pandemic happening, right? The struggles of everyone involved in this world, whether they be privileged to a certain degree or not privileged to a certain degree, they're still real.
And this is a life philosophy that you can take even in a micro sense. If you're in a relationship and you're coming, let's say Issa comes to me and says, I'm feeling this sort of way. How constructive is it for me to say, well,
but I did this and I'm not feeling this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I'm dealing with this over here. So, like I'm basically just giving you the middle finger at that point because I'm dealing, because, so it is something that I have had to learn, because I think we all do, like we both have, I think we both have had to learn that, where if, like, for example, if I came up to this podcast and I said, babe, I am really not feeling 100% right now, this entire podcast might turn into a therapy session. Or, so we've learned how to reach out and to listen in a constructive manner.
And like, I think it's funny because we're in the same field. When it's high stress, it's not just high stress for me. It's high stress for the both of us. So me and Joshua have been put in very high stress situations where we are both like very, what is the word? Highly, whatever, high stress. I can't think of a synonym. I'm sorry, it's too early for me. But I mean, you know how usually when there is a work stress thing, the other partner isn't in the same situation, so they can like sort of support. Like with us, we have experienced very high stress situations where the stress is on both of us. And like, I feel like because we've gone through that and figured out how to manage our high stress situation and leave the other, or sort of support the other while that's happening, like I think we've become better at supporting each other when we don't have the stress ourselves. Like it's one of those, if we can do it when we're both highly stressed, why can't we do it when we're, So,
There's a very specific form of empathy in our relationship, but it is a grander lesson to have that empathy for the other person. That way you can listen to their problems, and the whole, I'll always go back to the classic Parks and Rec scene where they tell Chris Traeger, you fall into the classic trap, trying to fix everyone's problems rather than just being there for them. And that's always something I remember whenever you and I are talking through our stuff, is the fact that, and you say it yourself, you've said yourself on like multiple episodes already, you're really just you're playing Tetris in your brain out loud. And you're just trying to put it all together. So
what were we talking about before we pivoted to that like relationship? Oh, I was gonna say another thing, one last thing, because I have to mention it again. It's just like how or what my new favorite creators, Chris and Ian, please be friends with them. It's like, it's what they always say, like water your own garden. So that is what I'm trying to do at this point in this time in the pandemic.
I think I finally saw the TikTok you were talking about. The is it focus on your bloom? I'm trying to remember what the phrase was.
Focus on your blooming. Actually, babe, I want to buy their merch. But I think they only ship out in LA, so like I'll just figure out.
That's fine. I'll figure it out. They do seem they seem like really nice guys. I follow them too.
Yeah, so like their merch says focus on your I like that I want the focus on your blooming and water your own garden thing. But wait, it's not a but and. That's one thing that I've learned from you. I
Mm.
realize that when I speak I always say but to negate what I just said, but it shouldn't be but, it should be and. Something 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 but. It should be something 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 and. More positive. Uh what was I gonna say?
It's a
Yeah,
lot harder
focus
than
on your
it's a lot harder than people think. When you try to tell somebody, try not to say "but" as much, and it's
yeah.
really hard. We've
See,
had
I
those
was just about to do that.
we've had those conversations where
Yeah.
we go like, if I were to say something, you are not invalidating what I said.
Yeah.
What you just have a point to make aside from
Yeah.
it. You go
Yeah.
yes, and then you go and
Yeah. It's like improv, right? But in real life.
yeah,
Also, I think it's also because again, English is not my first language, so there are certain words I use as fillers, and this is so funny to me because Bretman Rock just did a story about how he went like, is it like I know I speak in English, but I actually think in Ilonggo. And I don't understand Ilonggo. Ilonggo is one of like the Filipino dialects. So that's even different from Tagalog. That's even different from Bicol. But he's Ilonggo. His family is Ilonggo. No, sorry, Ilocano. Ilonggo is even different from Ilocano. There are so many dialects.
oh, he's Ilocano.
Yeah, so basically he goes like, I speak in Ilocano. So it's not like I know it comes out to you guys in English, but to me, the voice in my head, and please, I'm gonna cuss, it's our podcast. Because he always goes like, good motherfucking morning, bitch, and starts the whole like series of stories with that. And he's like, I say that, but like what I hear in my head, and then he utters like this Ilocano phrase, sorry. And I'm like, sometimes I am like that. Like, how I speak, how I think. Like when I do write, it's in English because I've been trained to write and speak in English. But how I say it, it's like it's still jumbled in with my Tagalog in my head.
Yeah.
So I know I can't think of a specific phrase right now, but sometimes when I say things, it's a translation of the Tagalog and it comes out wrong in English.
Mm.
It's like what? But if you talk to like a native Filipino Tagalog, I'm gonna say Tagalog by the way. Nuance, it's not Filipino, it's Tagalog because like Filipino is the whole Philippines. Tagalog is specifically the dialect in Manila. So if I speak to a native Tagalog speaker, they get it because like they also translate it. But then when I speak to a native English speaker, they're like, "What is going on with that
Yeah.
sentence?"
It's like that's not an idiom I've ever heard before. Where
Yeah,
are you getting that from? Yeah, it's true. I
yeah.
don't think it's happened too often, but I know what you mean. I know
It's
what you mean.
happened. It's
It has
happened.
happened. Yeah, it doesn't happen. It
Definitely
doesn't
happened.
happen that often. But yeah. Okay, so what I
I
find
love
fun.
it. You go on. Sorry. I was just gonna point out your natural host is coming out because you're steering the conversation. I'm just sitting here going like, go on.
Well, because I see that we're hitting the half-hour mark, and we still have a topic that we have to come into. So I'm
Well, the
always,
topic is Halloween,
and I was going to segue to
basically.
it.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I ruined your segue. Go on.
These are all things that like I used to host a lot in
Mm-hmm.
high school, college, family events, school events, all of that stuff. So that's the reason why this has been ingrained in me. Like it's just how I am.
On the other hand, I was the kid they brought in for like if they needed someone to fill a spot or to report impromptu. Like I'd be that group mate who didn't do anything and then they were like, Isa, just report. And I'd
Mm,
read it like 10 minutes before and I'm like, hello friends, today we're talking about this report. Or they'd be like, Isa, we need another character. And I'd be like, sure, hello friends.
You know what they always told me was like the most impressive part about my is it orator skills? Oration? It's not oration, is it?
Oratory
Oratory, thank you. That was the word I was looking
yeah.
for. What I was always told was so interesting about my oratory skills is that if something did not go as planned, I always found a way of
To pivot it back.
not really, well, I can bring it back via a segue once the thing that we planned on is finally happening. But in the meantime, I was really good at vamping, but I would always do it in such a way that still brought attention.
Vamping?
It was
What's vamping?
vamping is like you're you're basically improving, but you're doing it to like elongate the time.
Okay,
So
yeah, okay,
if there's a
gotcha.
certain amount of time between now and when the thing we planned is actually about to happen because they kind of messed up or something like that, I'm still able to keep the focus of my speaking to the event that's happening, to the thing that we are hosting. It's not some completely random thing on the side.
That's sweet.
And one of the like if you're doing an event like it's a banquet or something like that, you don't go on some sort of tangent and just go, so who's everyone voting for this? Like you don't just bring up anything. So for me, one of my favorite ways of doing that was actually to just go into the audience. And that's not a skill that most people have because it's very improv, it's very on the fly. You don't know what the audience is going to give you. So it's up to you to pick up the pieces that other people drop if they're not actually going to give you a lot. So I remember back in college, I would actually go into the audience whenever something would happen, just start asking people like, hey, so how are you feeling about the event right now? Like, how you doing? Hey, how's it going over here? And all that kind of thing. And like it was part of, they thought it was all planned. But
It is not.
anyway, tying it back, segue. What I find funny about our podcast is that Sunday was when I went to San Diego. Got home kind of late. We were not able to record the podcast then.
This is being recorded late, by the way, for context.
This is what I'm saying. Monday and Tuesday, I was basically useless. And then you had...
I had stuff. So
exactly.
much stuff. It was overflowing stuff.
Yeah. And I know that I'm just going through like a certain like either mental or energy phase because yesterday was like the most productive day I've had in a long time. Like I woke up at 7, I got to my office by 10 o'clock. I was there until 6. It was amazing. And then I come home and my parents are watching shows and I ended up watching it with them and then everything went to shit again. Anyway, so we're recording this literally 2 days before Halloween, which means that our episode is coming out tomorrow, the day before Halloween, which means what we're talking about right now is actually more current to the event we're about to talk about, which is the day after the podcast comes out. I find it funny that our podcast shifts in time.
That was a lot of math.
Yeah.
For date relativity. I sort of got confused.
Well, my point is that we record on Sundays, which means that by Friday, the thing that we're talking about is more than a week after what we talked about on Sunday, potentially.
Yes.
So now we're actually current.
Yes. So Halloween.
You're not dressed up. You're not dressed up as the troll.
I can't wait.
You can actually do it right now. Because it was really funny that you were able to.
Hair. Okay. Ow. Anyway.
There it is.
Ow. How do I? There. So I actually did shoot a whole video as a troll.
This is super funny and cute.
I'm not just a troll though. I am. You will be watching this online. So
I'm a person.
This me. What was that? This means I am an online troll, and isn't that just the scariest thing this 2020? Like honestly though, no.
How about me? What am I?
A robot? What am
I'm
a TikToker?
I'm an online bot. What's scarier, the online troll or the online bot?
That is a very good discussion. That would be a very good topic. I do not like. Both very scary things.
Yes.
I did a whole video in costume because the tech mob, the PH tech, and not just tech creators I work with have decided that we're gonna do like a very big giveaway. Mm-hmm. We have 11 things to be given away. We have Yeezys to be given away.
What?
Yeah, Carla's giving away Yeezys. We have
of course it was Carlo.
Yeah, so we basically have
That's
this
funny.
Really big giveaway going on. Oh, you should wait for his video because everyone will shoot videos in costume. So I
was he going to be LeBron?
Oh my god, check his Instagram.
Okay.
It's amazing.
I'll check it later.
You know what? I'll show it. He's going to be snapping everyone away. That is what do you call that? That is a hint at what he's gonna be. Wait, I'm trying to pull it up.
Snapping at everyone away. Is he a crab? Is he a turtle?
Oh my god, babe, what the heck?
You said snapping at everyone.
Yeah.
He's Ah, okay. That's snapping. Well, I love that it's
Dude, it's
I love that
amazing.
I love the hand heart because you would never expect Thanos to
Yeah.
actually have do a hand heart. Oh, but you
Yeah,
guys have the
but like
glove. That makes sense.
he has the whole thing. It's gonna be
Yes.
all out. It's
I
just
remember you
that's
guys were
just
playing around with the
yeah.
Infinity Gauntlet. Yeah, I remember that.
So basically, follow Carlo Ople on YouTube and on Instagram and on everywhere, and actually follow everyone on the Tech Mob. You should be seeing really cool costumes. I suck at costumes. I always
This was really
only
good
did
though.
yeah, but I always only did like slutty things, cause
Well,
Halloween
I
was an
wasn't talking about
excuse to
those. I was
like
saying the one you did the online troll was a good
oh
one.
it actually cost me like $4. I got this online. And I was planning to like just gel all my hair, but then I don't like product in my hair, so I didn't do that. Found this, it worked. It yeah, put lipstick on my nose, couldn't get it out the next day. Yeah, it was fun. I honestly wanted to go as something less scary, which was someone shooting outside. I wanted to go as a person whose admin handled the COVID right.
Damn.
And then I wanted to
So
go
Japanese, Korean, Taiwanese,
New Zealand.
New
New
Zealand. Thank you.
Zealand, yeah. I wanted to, or something very scary, I wanted to go as a cop. It was so hard
Oh,
to find
you
a
know what's crazy
costume.
is this is the dichotomy of Halloween, especially in the U.S.
Yeah.
because you have a lot of people who would actually think they're clever by being those things when in reality it's incredibly insensitive.
I mean, I'm not even talking about the US context at this point. I'm talking
Sure.
about my context at this point, and it still remains true.
Hmm.
So I it's just, you know what? I just wanted to have fun with it. So
It was
but
good.
then
It
as
came
with a
off that
lot
way.
of
It was good.
yeah, but as with a lot of things though, I can't remove the things I care for, and therefore I am an online troll.
So were you mentioned earlier that you would only really like you would usually dress up like slutty versions of XYZ.
It's actually funny because I guess it's because I'm in a conservative country where people don't really go out and jog in sports bras. That's considered revealing here. Like you
Yeah.
can't just like go out in sports bras. So I guess it was an excuse for all of us to sort of like just do all these cute cool stuff,
And actually wear those things.
and actually wear those things which we wait, why did my monitor turn off?
Sleep mode.
Does that happen? I'm so confused.
There
It
could
does.
be a
Oh,
there could be
just
a screen
I think it
timeout.
just slept or
Yeah.
something. Oh, okay, it's still working. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wait, what was I saying? Oh, it was just an opportunity to sort of like wear things we wouldn't normally be allowed to wear.
Hmm.
I guess so. That's an added layer when you're in a more conservative
But
place.
would you say you were really like into I know people who are like super into Halloween. I've never really been that person,
Uh
but I
huh.
was going to ask you like have you ever really
I
been
mean,
into Halloween in that way?
now that I think about it, I feel like I could be because it's the one holiday which is perfect for like someone who's an adult. Does that make sense? Who's an adult but not really an adult. Like it's a holiday that doesn't really entail a lot of like familial responsibilities, and yet it's an excuse to go out and enjoy. So
Sure.
it feels like the perfect holiday sans responsibility.
Yeah, I guess
I
a little bit,
yeah.
yeah.
I've
Like
never been super into it. I've always been super into going out and partying. So it
mhm.
was just another excuse to go out and party. But like now, since I'm not that into partying or going out, um, it's, I mean, but now I look at it and I'm like, I could enjoy that. We should do that. That should be fun.
And yeah, and we will like once we have the opportunity to. I feel like there are times that it would be fun. Like, I never really have been
I,
much into Halloween myself because,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not. I don't know. I'm a pansy, honestly. Like when it comes to scary stuff, like
Oh,
I can't take it usually. Like I can't do any
I
of the.
don't.
Everyone's playing horror games on YouTube right now, and I just
Wait,
can't even
I
watch
don't.
those.
I don't even watch scary movies. Remember, we had this conversation. I don't listen to scary stories. I don't watch scary movies, and it's because this is a term me and my friends have coined. But I'm a free thinker, meaning if you tell me something, I'm gonna imagine it. So if you verbally tell me something gross, my brain will imagine it and it's gonna be in my brain forever. So what scares me when I watch scary movies or listen to scary stories is that not at that moment when I'm watching it. It's like gonna be like 2 weeks from now when I'm alone in my bed. I'm gonna imagine whatever scary thing you told me about 2 weeks ago, and that's gonna freak me out so much. So
Hmm.
that's why I think I was flying to you last year during Halloween, and your brother's wife,
Hmm.
fiance. Wait,
Wife.
I'm confused. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. For a split second there, I was like, huh? anyway, anyway, Ryan and Judy, hello. I'm sorry I got confused, but they were asking us to go to a party. And I thought it was just like a party. So at first I was like, yeah, sure. And then I eventually learned that it was going to be a scary thing. And I'm like, no,
So
no
it wasn't just.
way.
So it would be one thing if it was just a party because those happen, house party, everyone's dressed up, but they were not actually asking us to go to a party with them. They were asking us to go to Halloween Horror Nights, which is literally a theme park that you walk through, and there's a path, and you are literally just having the shit scared out of
Yeah.
you the entire
No.
time.
No. And it's like,
I can't do that either. It's too much for
yeah,
me too.
I did the It's a Small World ride years back, and it freaked me out, man. What
Those
is
are
up?
freaky
Like,
dolls.
I mean, it was me and my sister on that tiny boat, and our parents going like, "Oh, it's gonna be so fun! Like, find the Filipina doll." And it was me and my sister going like, "What? What is going on? This is a nightmare! This is a nightmare! Why are we here? They're gonna kill us."
Yeah, it can be
It's
pretty
freaky.
freaky if your imagination goes wild. The most tradition I've ever had when it comes to Halloween is watching one movie every. I think I did it every year from junior high to college.
What?
Battle Royale, which is not
What is
even.
that movie?
It's not even a real Halloween movie. It's more of a thriller than a scary movie or anything like that. But for some reason, it just became my go-to thing to do in Halloween.
Isn't that like the Kill Bill thing? Similar to Kill Bill thing? I'm confused.
No,
I don't know
it's
what that
well,
is.
one of the stars from Battle Royale ended up in Kill Bill. Yes.
I obviously have no idea
But
what that
Battle
is.
Royale is literally the original concept film, Japanese, where in a
They kill
dystopian.
each other up until the one. Okay, yeah,
Yes.
okay, I remember.
So in a I guess the term is dystopian, but in like a very bleak future of Japan, the adults, the older generation, they decide to take control of the youth of the country by taking them randomly, picking random high school students, throwing them on a remote island, and just letting them kill each other, like survival. And it's the concept that ended up inspiring the Hunger Games. But yeah, I would just watch Battle Royale. Like there were elements of like spooky Halloween stuff in it, I guess. But really, it was just one of those like gory films that I just would watch. And it is a cultural phenomenon. It's literally
Yeah.
the concept has become all the games that a lot of us are playing right now.
I mean, I like. Excuse me. I like weird films like Kill Bill and Sin City. Sin City was amazing. But if it's like just all gore, I typically like tend to stay away from it. I mean, I know that Battle Royale is a good one because I remember
Yeah.
putting that on my to watch list. I just haven't gotten around to doing that. I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't. I mean, remember I didn't know that there was a volume 2 for Kill Bill. I was just like, what?
Yeah.
I haven't even seen it yet as well.
So the girl in Kill Bill who has the ball
The
and chain,
samurai. Oh no, okay. What?
the schoolgirl, the Japanese schoolgirl
Yeah,
that she
yeah,
fights.
yeah.
She is in Battle Royale, and she's a she's a she turns pretty psycho in that movie as well. Her weapon of choice was a scythe, I think. like a hand,
What is
like a.
a scythe?
It's
I'm
basically like
completely out of my element right now. Like,
so a
what are we
scythe.
talking about?
So a scythe. This was a
Is
small
it
one.
the
You have a wooden handle, and then the blade goes like this. There's like a
like a
crescent.
moon?
There's like a crescent shape to it.
So like a Sailor Moon.
Kind of, yeah. So I think
You know
if
what I
I'm
want?
mhm.
I want to watch Sailor Moon again. I
there's
don't know
a
where to do that.
there's a big resurgence right now. I'm curious if for Halloween what things people are going to dress up as because there's been a sort of resurgence of classic things like that on like that I see it on social media a lot. People are rehashing a lot of old animes that they haven't been that they now have the chance to rewatch because of quarantine. Things like Sailor Moon. I've actually been seeing lately a trend on TikTok. People are dancing to the soundtrack of Boys Over Flowers, which I
Oh, I
think is
haven't seen
interesting.
Voice Over Flowers.
It's just a classic lovey-dovey K-drama. But like, yeah, it's a lot of people are dancing to the soundtrack. So I wonder if there are going to be a lot of people who rehash a lot of those things. In my case, the costumes that I ever had, like I can't pull off slutty. So what I what I would end up doing is I had Andrew get me he went to a prop store in San Diego for me. I gave him the money and he got it for me because I was still in class. He got me a wooden training samurai sword, one of those wooded ones. And at the time I had a shaved head. I was practically bald.
Shave your head with the wooden samurai sword?
No, I had a shaved head and I would show up to the parties in a full suit with the sword and act like a yakuza. So that was my costume, and I'm pretty much acting like Jeff Winger in Community, where he just has a costume that makes him look good. So, so I'm the guy in a full suit
Yes.
at the
Yes.
party, drinking whiskey, holding a sword. Like,
I mean, at some point, I just went out in a bathrobe. So,
slutty bathrobe.
I have a short one. I mean, it's not. It wasn't even slutty, but it was because it was a bathrobe, and then I was in heels and a shower cap, like that.
That had to have been super last minute, right?
I actually planned it. It was a matching costume with my friend Tim. He was in a bathrobe. I was in a bathrobe.
Oh,
He had a
okay.
blue floral one. I had a pink floral one, and it was just
Because I know that
funny.
the super last minute costume idea these days is a onesie. So you
Yeah.
just
I
get
mean,
into a onesie that has like your favorite anime on it, and then you're good to go.
yeah. I don't know what it is with my brain, but like when I do costumes, I tend to be super meta about them. So like there was one costume party, I just remember this because this was one of my favorite costumes ever, and it by all accounts it was a sucky costume, but it was a super meta costume. So I can't believe we did this, but it's the same friend Tim. You definitely should meet him. I love him. So
Did it
Tim
not?
is
He's not one that lives here, right?
he no.
Oh,
So
okay.
Tim is a friend of mine who was set to move to the US actually for his PhD. I have very smart friends. So he is a literature professor in the University of the Philippines. That is our premier state school. He finished his PhD. He was gonna do further studies, but also he's my drinking friend who I've done so many stupid things with because we were drinking. So we usually have our annual costume party, but this was for Christmas. And the theme was heroes and villains. And this was at the height of us partying. So, of course, people came in like their like superhero costumes, right? You know what me and Tim came in as?
Salt and pepper.
No.
That's not heroes and villains. What am I thinking?
Neither is this costume, but we made it happen.
What was it?
Jaeger Red Bull.
Oh wow, that's funny.
Why? Ask me why.
Because that's what you would drink all the time.
Because this is they might be the hero that saved the night or the villain that you regret the next morning. What the heck? What?
That is
So this
very-
is the same.
that is
so,
very meta.
I mean, I tend to do this to my costumes. I can't just be Poppy. I have to be an online troll. And we couldn't just be like superheroes or villains. We had to be like Jaeger Red Bull. So there are literally like photos of us being Jaeger Red Bull. Just because like that was our costume. Dude, I don't know. I can't do fun costumes. I have to like be all like,
I
costume.
in my case, like it's if you have to explain your costume, maybe it's not that great a costume in that way.
I
And I
mean,
was always that person where I always had to like give a long explanation as to why this makes sense. I never did this, but I still want to. I actually wanted to get just a shirt that has the YouTube logo on it.
and then you can be YouTube.
I'm just a YouTuber. And I'm just
I
running
mean,
around going, "Hey, bro, it's a prank, bro. It's a prank."
I want like I don't know. I don't know. That's how I think of costumes. Like there always has to be this underlying thing of what it is.
Yeah.
And that's always how I don't know. I don't know if it's fun or not fun, but obviously that's how I've been crafting my costumes. It's that or I'm Kat Von D because I want to run around in a bikini. I
Did
literally did that one year.
fair. I mean, it's a good. As you said earlier, if it's an excuse to be able to wear those things outside of their original context,
Yeah.
especially if those contexts are limited, like yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I never. Yeah. I mean, that was the most effort I ever put into one of those things. I think one year I had a fedora, and I was Neo because I was like I got a sort of reputation for being like a well I was definitely a hopeless romantic in college, so people associated me with Neo a lot, and then I kind of
Wait,
took
wait.
Neo
Why is
the artist,
Oh, I
because of
thought
you.
Neo. I thought
Not
Neo of the
Matrix.
Matrix.
No, I would have loved that, but there's no
That's
reason.
also just a suit, you
No,
know.
it's a trench coat. It's a trench coat. It's a trench coat and a turtleneck, I want to say. But yeah, like there's no reason to get a trench coat in Southern California. Like there's literally no reason. It's like
That's
getting a
true.
trench. Yeah, like it's too hot here. Anyway, yeah, I had that association with me. Um, Other than that, I can only think of like when I was a kid, I was Dracula one time, and I definitely did not do it any justice because at the time I was actually scared of big dogs. So I ran away from a big dog, and they were like Dracula running away from a dog. Great job, Josh. So
That's actually cute. Very funny.
I even had like
Very
the
cute.
teeth with like blood coming down and all that. I'm like and then this big dog. I don't even remember what it was. It might have been a Doberman, but like the dog just came over. And I was like, whoo, and I was like, oh god, and then ran away.
Dude, so Chu has been stealing prime spotlight because she's been indoors. She's been actually sick. That's
Hmm.
why she's been indoors. But dog is a very needy dog. Well, actually, no, she's not needy. She's too aloof. It's like
She's just
I
there at this
she's
point.
just there.
Yeah.
And she's just like very furry, so I shoot my videos. People don't realize she's actually there. You
Hmm.
know
So all right. So next
why?
Halloween.
Why? Hello,
What?
test. Oh, okay. I'm just checking my audio because I can
Uh.
see now. I have a monitor. So
So I feel like last Halloween question, and I feel like this is one of the funnier parts about this whole Halloween discussion because how effective really is it for someone like me, a diabetic, to truly enjoy Halloween? Um, what were your favorite like? Is there trick or treating in the Philippines? Like what
yes,
are
because I live in a gated community.
fair? So what would be your
So
favorite treats? She's shrugging, audience.
honestly,
Great for our audio podcast that she does a visual cue.
I am so. I mean, honestly, it for me trick or treat has always like been
Well, then what was your favorite
just the
candy?
activity of it.
I
You
mean,
know,
I know what I'm gonna
I
do
mean,
if you're. I know what I'm gonna do
in
whenever
my
you're here and it's Halloween. I'm gonna scare you and then throw Milka in your face.
oh Milka,
Yeah.
that's so good. I love Milka. Oh, you know what? Okay, dear audience, Milka is this like grocery chocolate you can buy in Europe for dirt cheap. It's
Hmm.
pretty expensive in the Philippines or even in the US, right? Like it's more expensive.
Yes.
But the thing is, I like European chocolate more than American chocolate because American chocolate can be a little more abrasive in sweetness, while European chocolate can be like a little more subtle. So it's my favorite chocolate of
Yeah. I
all
mean,
time. And every time me and Joshua travel, I bring home so much because it's not just me who love it, it's even my family. And for some reason, this last time that we traveled, I was like, I'm not gonna buy that much because I'm gonna fly back anyway. So the last time we traveled was in January. We were set to fly to Europe in Feb.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Feb? Right.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. So now, because my family always has a Milka stash. We have like a secret Milka stash. And it's like a whole family activity where we text each other after dinner. We go like, chocolate. And then like we just like share a bar. The whole family shares a bar. So like it's such a nice little thing that we do. But then now we don't have chocolate and I'm just so pissed because I could have bought more except we didn't because like anyway. My point is I love Milka. That was the point.
And that would be
that
like
was the
that would be the haul of the night is if you went to a house, you
yeah.
said trick or treat as a 32-year-old, and then they said,
Yeah, they're not
here's
gonna
your
give out
here's your
Milka.
Milka.
They're not gonna do that, which is pretty sad, honestly. But
I was always
my
just
thing,
like, I think my favorite candy that I ever would get. I mean, because we always had those little nuances of like we could tell which houses were cheap because they would always give the little
yeah,
bite-sized ones, and then there are the houses that give out the full candy bars, and you're like,
uh-huh.
yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah. The thing is, we always get like the bite-sized one here in the Philippines. If someone gives out Twix, they're really that's not cheap here. So like if someone gives out Twix here, that's like an expensive house, you know.
Yeah, I
But
I would say actually my favorite candy bar is kind of controversial because I really don't hear anybody ever talking about it. I actually like 100
what?
grand.
I don't know what that is.
So 100 grand is, so you know what a crunch bar is, right?
I like
It's,
Crunch.
yeah, you like crunch. Do you like caramel filled chocolate?
No.
Okay, well, it's both. So the bottom layer has a little bit of
Oh.
caramel, and then the top layer is this very like large mound, which is basically a crunch bar. So it's both. So
Oh, one thing that drives you crazy that I do? I get
hmm.
so much Kit Kat when I'm there.
Now there's
Cause
only
so
one place
okay,
where that made perfect sense, and of course it
where
was Japan because there's so many flavors. But like,
not even like the thing is the Kit Kat in the Philippines is not the same Kit Kat in the US.
hmm,
If you ask any Filipino, we always get Kit Kat from the States to bring home because it tastes different. Like local Kit Kats. Once upon a time, we had no Kit Kats, and then we had Kit Kats, but then it's a different Kit Kat. So if you can buy Kit Kats here, but they're not as good as the Kit Kats in the US. And that's why I always buy those boxes. I should have bought boxes the last time I was there.
oh, that's
I'm
what you
still
miss.
pissed about it. Yeah. I mean, go away. Stop judging my Kit Kat. And at some point, Joshua
Hey,
actually
when
said,
you
"No, we're not sending you any more Kit Kat. Isa, stop buying Kit Kat."
well,
Because I would like eat
I'm over here
6 bars in one
I'm over here
sitting.
the diabetic keto eater, and she's asking me to go to a Smart and Final to buy every box of Kit Kats, and I'm like, this is good. This goes against everything I believe in.
So good, but it's like it's for the whole family, and we eat it together. It's so nice. I
And then,
love it.
but
I
then what would
love Kit
happen
Kat.
is you say it's for the whole family, and then one night you'll message me and go, I feel like crap because I ate 2 whole Kit Kats by myself.
But my emotions are good because it's for my emotional. Okay, I'm justifying my bad habits. Never mind. But yeah, it's. I love. Okay, now that I think about, because okay, when you ask me about Halloween candy, it's just a different type of candy comes to mind. In the Philippines, like if we go trick or treating, they don't give out chocolate bars because that'd be expensive. They give out like the little candies, like Halls and I don't know, White Rabbit. I love
And
White
wouldn't they
Rabbit.
melt?
No, because they're hard candies. Oh
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so the
But if it
chocolate
was
bars would
chocolate,
melt. Yeah.
yes.
So to get those tiny candy bar, like those assorted bags of like Twix and Crunch and Musketeers, if you get those, that's actually very expensive here. So that's you rarely get those. Sometimes you do, but you rarely do. You usually get like tiny candies and like cheap ones. So it's not really something I think about when
Also,
we go trick or treating.
people really don't like Three Musketeers. I've learned.
Yeah, I don't like them.
You don't like it? Okay.
Yeah. Twix is actually for me.
Oh,
Like
okay.
sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't. I
Do you like
don't.
the
What
left
other
side or the
chocolate?
right side?
I take out the caramel.
Oh, wow.
What? It's too sweet.
Yeah.
The
No.
the like I like
The
crunch.
joke with Twix is which side are you? Like that's the
I don't
joke.
get it.
Because they're the same. Picking a side is futile because both Twix are the same. So
Oh,
that's
is it top or bottom then?
No, because it's side by side. So left or right
I don't
Twix.
understand. Oh, I meant like in one Twix. I
No,
take out the top because that's the
no, because
caramel.
they come in packs of two. So which
Oh,
side are you? Are you the left Twix or the right Twix? That's like the marketing that they have.
it's not very funny.
The commercials are funny because they take it to extremes, like people fighting over
Oh,
left or right side.
that's weird. Okay. Okay, I just probably don't get the context.
That's fine. And then
Yeah,
another funny image is I would, if I were like giving out candy here, I would love to be the person that has full Kit Kats, but when kids come and say trick or treat, I break one and
what?
one at a time.
But yeah, when it comes to American chocolate, I love Kit Kat. Crunch is okay. I love Kit Kat. That's
It's
it.
a good one.
What else?
I
What
ain't mad at
chocolate
that
do you
one.
have?
Snickers,
I don't like that.
Reese's.
They're okay. Would probably just want Kit Kat.
Okay.
What else?
Let me
Don't
think of
like
what other one.
Musketeers. Twix is okay. Like there's really not any American chocolate that I would say, oh my god, I want that. The
Yeah.
same way I'd say, oh my god, I want that to Kit Kat, or oh my god, I want that to Milka.
Hmm.
Milka's the best. Milka's just like
Yeah, that's the thing.
god
Like
tier.
I'm the one who's like the kids will be so confused coming away from our house and they're like, "What is keto?" Like why is this chocolate dark? So I'm like 90% dark chocolate. Yeah. Oh, these kids hate me. They egg my house.
Kids are gonna be like, oh, screw that house.
They
Let's go
egg it.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is something to look
Um,
out for. I'm a little bit worried about that because, like, especially now with people locked in for the last 10 months, 8 months rather, the, like, because we have literally had pranksters on Halloween, like, throw eggs at everyone's house. And it's really annoying because what a lot of these kids obviously don't realize, and this is what my brother got really pissed at, they egged his car. And what they don't realize is dried up egg white actually damages paint, you fucking kids. So that really pissed
why
him
would
off.
you let your kids out with eggs though?
It's just in the middle of the night. They just go out. These parents don't do shit for with their kids.
Wait,
We're talking
kids
about
can just go.
we're talking about like teenagers, like
Yeah, I live
preteens.
in the Philippine context. It doesn't matter if you're a teenager, if you're 25, you can get grounded. Like there are days when I feel like my dad be like, "You're grounded to me right now," and you know how old I am. Like that is the Philippine context. It doesn't matter. So like for me to be a preteen or a teen and to be out at midnight is unheard of. Like that is crazy to
Yeah.
me.
This is also this part of the show is also us in our rocking chairs, like these stupid
No, no,
kids.
no. It's not even like
That's
I
me at
like
least, I
even
guess.
if I wanted to go out though, I couldn't because my parents would be like no, and like me in an Asian household would be like, can't believe I'm grounded. So it's like
I'm gonna go egg a house.
yeah, no, it's actually really unheard of. Like so, from I'm coming from the how did their parents let them out context because those memes about Asian households, like I find it so funny because again, Bretman put up a story about how like he can be 20 something and his mom would still be like on his ass because literally what happened was he messaged his mom about like if they had food because he was lazy to cook and his mom went on a whole like what is it a whole litany about how he should be cooking blah 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 as an adult blah blah blah, blah. And he was just like what the heck, but I mean it's true though, like they can be very exacting.
Hmm.
I cooked rice for the first time in this quarantine, and they're like, "Why don't you know how to use a rice cooker?" And I'm just like, "Well, my job is not to cook in this household; it is to scoop up poop."
So you, but
So I don't cook. I'm not on
you
cooking
succeeded
duty.
in making the rice though, right?
I put it in the rice cooker. Apparently, I didn't turn it on because I didn't know how to turn it on. Yeah. It's
Whole
okay.
nother
It's a
episode
delegation. Okay,
about
wait,
how
wait.
I'm the cook in this relationship.
Yeah, it's a delegation of responsibilities though. Like I clean stuff up. Like I can be very specific when it comes to cleaning, but it's my brother who cooks. And so out of three siblings, two of them girls and one guy. It's the guy in our family who cooks. Like you know how like my mom goes like you don't have the recipe, but you can imagine how it tastes, so you know how to cook it. I'm like, no, I can't imagine how it tastes. Like what are you what?
Yeah, that's a very
What do you mean
specific.
imagine how it tastes?
That's a specific mindset to have. Yeah.
No, no, but my brother gets it. Like he is inventing new dishes and they're good. And he's like, no, because I imagine like what would go well with this taste and this. I'm like, what? Dude, my brother like legitly roasted a chicken, but what he did was he reduced bulalo stock, put it
Mm-hmm.
in the chicken, and it was so good.
Nice.
And
Beef,
I'm
yeah,
like, how
thick
can you
beef
even
stock.
imagine that? Like, what is happening? And my mom was like, yeah, you imagine it. I'm like, no, I don't. I imagine eating it. So I stick to poop scooping because I just appreciate food. I appreciate eating it. I can scoop the poop up.
That's that's the end of the food enjoyment is the poop scooping.
I mean, it
For the
is. It
dogs, I
is.
want to reiterate to our audience, she's talking about dog poop, okay?
Yes. Metaphorically, though, Joan, kidding. I'm not even going there. It's yeah.
Hmm.
No.
Any final Halloween thoughts before we go on too many little tangents?
Mm, take this time to enjoy funny, scary stuff because in the world we're living right now, there are actual scary stuff in the news.
It's
So,
literally a few days before what might be the most harrowing election my country has ever had. So we'll see what happens. So yeah, enjoy your final Halloween
that's a
before
sad ending. Let's do something else. I don't
enjoy
want
your
to end
final
it on that
Halloween before
note.
democracy dies.
No, that's the scariest thing. Don't do. I thought we weren't doing scary stories. I'm kidding. Uh, let's
I
think of
should have worn. You know what
something
I should have done? I should have
nicer.
worn my "I voted" sticker. I will
Oh,
tomorrow, but yeah, I
this is
did.
my new favorite shirt. I got a bunch of shirts from Uniqlo, and they have like a Disney series,
Hmm.
and like this one says we're all mermaids, and then it says live beyond the grove. It's so nice. I love
Grotto.
it. Whatever. Yeah, okay, sure.
Grotto
No,
is yeah. Grotto
means
is
the
an
same
aquatics
thing.
term.
It means the same thing.
I don't know.
But yeah, yeah, I love Disney and I love what this
So
stands for.
you love Disney? You never dressed up as a Disney character?
But they were very helpless.
Mulan.
Mulan is whitewashed.
Okay, fine. You really love Disney.
I mean, I grew up with it, but like, I, how do I
How
say?
about Moana? You could do
I guess
Moana now.
I mean, it's coming to terms with all these different things, right? Like, I grew up loving Disney, but like growing up and realizing that they are very. I hated Snow White because she seemed very helpless and
Oh
naive.
yeah,
I
the
hated Sleeping
classic
Beauty.
princesses for
Yeah,
sure. I agree.
yeah, but even the new ones have issues. Like Moana is a great movie, but there are also issues about how they switched around the cultural things and created this character. So I mean, I don't know what my thoughts are on that. I haven't really thought up like what I feel about like how in telling a story these companies took what they wanted from certain cultures and put it there and changed up what they didn't want because storytelling. So I mean, I'm pretty sure that's an issue in itself altogether. It's just I'm a big Disney fan, but I am not lost on how the stories they tell can be damaging to some cultures.
Hmm.
Is what I mean. I mean, but again, it's like it's the whole same thing with both can be true, right? I can enjoy it and yet be aware of all these things and
Yeah.
not fully take it, not fully not fully and blindly support, which
Hmm.
we should all be doing, not blindly
Nuance.
support anyone. Yeah, even with like I think what I love about like Little Mermaid is she was the first Disney princess who sort of like had autonomy, had
Hmm.
to, But again, the original Little Mermaid story,
It's a
you know
really
what
sad
happened,
story. Yep.
right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, this girl, this girl. But I love the shirt because, like, if you look at her expression, it's not trying to be nice. Look at it.
I can barely
Can you
see you.
see?
No.
Basically, it isn't like a Disney picture of a princess smiling. Like, That is a I'm over it face from
Oh,
all the mermaids on my shirt. They're
yeah.
not
Which is
smiling,
why
they're
it
not doing
says,
anything.
live beyond the grotto. So
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So yeah, I just love that. And then like I got a Maleficent shirt, and then it says like Ob's fairest of them all.
Nice.
So I love that. And then oh my god, why am I showing off my Uniqlo stuff?
I know this is your haul video
This
at this
is
point.
this is not even sponsored or anything, but I love them. And you know me, I rarely fine, I don't rarely buy clothes from Uniqlo. I buy clothes from them all the time, but I rarely buy clothes that I'm super excited about. That's like shirts with prints on them, right? Have you ever seen me buy a shirt?
Yeah, well, yes, I've seen you buy a shirt.
Like no, I mean like a tee, a graphic tee.
No.
Exactly. So now I have this, and this is a ow. I hit my face with a tag. It's a shirt which says expectations, and it's the Cinderella shoe that fits, and reality, and it's the Cinderella shoe that does not fit. It's just funny. Okay,
Those are funny. Yeah,
let's
those
stop.
are meme worthy. Those are nice.
Yeah.
And as we
Yeah.
continue on, we still don't know how to end this podcast.
Uniqlo, everyone. You should definitely check it. I love it. It's Uniqlo, everyone.
All right.
Okay, I don't know. Let's end it with I am hot and I need to turn the AC on. And
And
this
it's
is
almost
actually
my.
episode 10 of our podcast.
That's
It's our
true. We've hit
10th
double digits.
anniversary.
Our 10th anniversary.
Yes. Wait, does anniversary connote a year? Or
Yes.
just like a number? Okay. It's our 10th.
Yeah, annual anniversary.
Oh. Well, then it's our
It's our 10th episode.
ep- that sounds boring. 10th episode of fun and my brain's not right. It's okay. We're done. Thanks, guys. We'll see you on the 11th. So I guess the lesson here, aside from the fact that we need to learn how to end our podcasts, is that sometimes you can get things perfectly, just like in our last episode, and then sometimes you forget the AC on when you start. So it's not always improvement after improvement. Sometimes there's a step back, but you can recover. Until next time, you guys, we are on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Our video version is on YouTube. That's technically together.